Hello, my Juicy co-creators. Lilou here on the Juicy Living Tour in rainy Miami. This happens too. I mean, this is part of kind of the tropic, exotic weather here. You live here, huh? You're German originally, Gabrielle, but you do live in Miami.
I'm German and American. I have dual citizenship and I live in Miami. I love the weather, even if it rains. Yes.
It's so warm compared to Europe right now.
Yes, we don't even want to talk about it. Everybody will be jealous.
So we're here together, you know, to speak of the Akashic Records, because you self-published this book, and I really I think it takes so much courage to write a book and to put it out and to want to share it. And I know you've been doing those sessions with many people, and you teach actually people how to do it themselves. So this is wonderful, and this shows us, you know, all the potential of human beings and what we can access now. Is this something new that we can access these days to Akashic Records, or it's always been like that?
It's always been like that. There are even many people we know from the history that have accessed the Akashic Records, like Rudolf Steiner, Edgar Cayce, or Madame Blavatsky, for example. These are the people we most recognize, maybe. But it is becoming more and more popular, I would want to say, because people are more aligned with it today than they maybe have been before. We are coming into a time where we are moving more from survival to thriving, and accessing the Akashic Records are part of that.
So how do you, because I've done a few interviews on Akashic Records, but I would love for the people that don't know, or just simply to have your point of view on what you think it is and how you view it. Okay. What does it look like?
What does it look like? I would want to describe there are many descriptions. You know, there are the textbook descriptions that tell you it's a library where you can gain information and everything is recorded. And of course, that's correct. But I want to describe this field as an energy field that is multidimensional, and it communicates with us. It's interactive with us, whether we are doing it intentionally or not. So people do access the Akashic Records many times, go to that level, to that dimension, even if they are not really aware of it. In dreams, during spiritual practices like fasting, or sometimes even just driving down the road and having an epiphany. But then there's also the way that I teach, where we can access the Akashic Records at any given time and moment on purpose, with intention and focus, to gain information that will help us improve our life, change our energy, shift our energy to a level where we would really live in that experience, rather than what we would call in English is like going in the same box, thinking in the same box, living in the same box, and this energy will take us into a different level, into a different dimension. So this is how I see the Akashic Records.
Is there something as all our past lives and our future lives are in there, or what's currently happening? Is it actually changing?
Yes and no. I want to say yes, because yes, of course, we have experienced lifetimes before, but then we also have to remember that this is a format, the way we look at life, past lives, now, future. And like humans used to believe the earth is flat, and they would die for that belief. And then someone came along and said, sorry, the earth is round. And there was a lot of resistance, and people had to grow into that belief. And now everybody believes the earth is round. Maybe one time we will figure out it's not even round. It's constantly changing. It's the same thing with past lives. There was a time where we would strictly think in timelines. Now we are coming to more of an understanding that all of that is happening today. So we have to learn to think linear, and at the same time we have to implement a different thinking. And that information really comes through whenever we get, even if we ask normal questions about financial problems or relationship problems. These informations comes through that filter of the Akashic Records into the readings of where we have to stop and say, wait a moment, yes, this is about a past lifetime, but it also has to do with who I am today. So when I access the Akashic Records and work with past lifetimes, I want to work with them in relationship to what is going on in that energy, that person's energy today. I don't just go back and say, have I lived in the time of Napoleon? Okay, but if there is an energy going on from a past lifetime that does affect the person today, which happens, then we want to work with that energy and see what we can do to release it, to change it, to get clarity on it.
So as we're remembering those or seeing those, yes, witnessing them, we're liberating that memory so that we can live more fully in this lifetime, right?
Can I give you an example? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I had one client, she loves a harp. She loves to play the harp. She plays it since 20 years. Her whole life is arranged so she has a big car with a big trunk, so she can carry the harp with herself. So this is a commitment to a harp. But she came and she said, even so I practice every day and I love it, I cannot really feel the passion for it. And I want to know, and I can't get better. That's what she said. I want to know why I'm so committed to this harp, even so I'm really not feeling it. It feels like I have to do it. So in that reading came through that in a past lifetime, she was a young girl and she was very sick and it was contagious. So her mother was not allowed to be close to her, but the mother wanted to be with the child and she sat in the corner of the room and played the harp. So
did you see that or she saw that through the exercise she done?
It came in the reading through me for the client. And the client immediately felt that energy was true for her because she associated the harp with the love from the mother. So that's what her passion about harps is today. And she said, after the reading, she says the practice is more fun, she's getting better, and she can get loose. She can let go of it now. She doesn't have to make her life about the harp anymore. She finds this love somewhere else. So there's the connecting link between what's going on in her life today. There is something she can't figure out why this is in her life, why it kind of even limits her in moving into other direction. Once she found that link, she was able to deal with it on a different level and even change it. So that is how information for me comes through from past lifetimes. It's always important to the here and now.
Yeah. And does it always ring a bell to the person? Could it be also an analogy? Having gone through past life, sometimes we receive information or when we're in a hypnotic state, and some things come out of our mouths or some things come out of the mouth of the person doing it. And it seems like it can be also part of our imagination or a way to put another scenario on what we're really feeling inside.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, because when I give the reading, I think to myself, I wonder if that resonates with her. And then I could see right away in her reaction, it resonated. It didn't make any difference to me, but to her, it made a huge difference. And she right away said, I can't prove it, but I know it's true. I want to say not 100% that people feel a resonance with it, but I want to say 85 to 90% people can really right then feel, yes, there is a truth to it. And if I communicate with my clients, I say, does that resonate with you? If it doesn't resonate with them, I go back and ask them to give me the information so it does resonate with the client.
When you say them, that means you're asking the
Akashic Records, the masters and teachers in the Akashic Records.
So there's some people guarding it.
Yes, but when I talk about the masters and teachers are not the guards. Actually, I have a nice story about that too. So the guards would be the lords of the Akashic Records. And I've done this work for years. And in order to access the Akashic Records, I use a process. It's called the pathway prayer. Now,
That you have in there.
that's in the book, yes. Now, there is a part of the pathway prayer when you access the records for someone else, it's a different prayer than for yourself. And that prayer includes the lords of the Akashic Records. And I used this prayer for years and I never really thought anything by it, you know. Yeah, you learn that these are the protectors of the Akashic Records, but it didn't have that deep meaning to me. And I met a lady from Arizona. She was in her 70s or 80s through a common friend, and she was accessing the Akashic Records in her own way, and she gave wonderful readings and really did good work. And so we communicated with each other, and oh yeah, isn't that cool when that happens, and can you feel the energy? And it was really a nice conversation. And all of a sudden she says to me, I don't even mind that I have to wait at the gate until they come out and give me the information. And I said, you don't go in? And she says, you go in? And then that moment, I'm getting goosebumps now. And that moment, I realized it wasn't that she can't go in. She just didn't know how. You know, it's not that they said, oh, you can go in and you can't. She just never tried beyond that point. But at that moment, I realized there is something like a protector there. So this energy cannot be misused. And it made me very grateful that I was so ignorant to just do it and never made a problem out of it. But now I treat it with much more respect after that experience. Yeah. So yes, they're the lords of the Akashic Records who protect this information. And then there are the masters and teachers, we call them in the Akashic Records. We don't really give them individual names, who will communicate with us.
Like guides.
Like
what most people know as guides.
Yes, what other people would describe as guides. I mean,
it's your contact. It's your...
Yes, in preparation, for example, for the book or this interview, I asked them, so what would you like me to say if they ask me who you are? And they said, well, you can give a generic answer like, we are beings of unconditional love and pure light, and we come from any religion, also from other planetary systems. And then there are the archangels and angels in there, and what other people would call guides. But then they said a more accurate explanation would be, you know, when you watch a movie and the credits show at the end, and maybe the first 3 or 4 you recognize the actors and the director and the producer, and then it's just names, but they are super important so the movie can happen. They're saying it's like that with us. Some of us you know by name, and all the others are just as important to the whole concept, to the whole entity. Mm-hmm. And what's important about them is the energy they contribute. There are no names like for humans.
Yeah. Do they want this interaction? Is it something that they want more and more us to interact with?
Yes, yes. And the interaction is mainly based on unconditional love. So the words and all the information we receive is beautiful, but the energy that comes through with it, that's what creates the shift.
There's a lot of people that do those Akashic record readings and this and that. What do you suggest for people that want to have that done, you know, to determine whether that person is good or not? Because there are some people surfing the waves of, oh, this is a big business and, you know, I'm going to surf it. So how do you know who's good and not good, that good? Well, it's not a tricky question.
No. I mean, of course there are many good ones, and then there are some who just, I cannot judge that because we are all having a purpose here in that picture. Yeah. I would say trust your intuition and ask, you know, look at references, look at testimonials, also look at if this person comes across authentically. you know, which doesn't mean that they have to be perfect, but authentically means for me, if someone charges an outrageous price, it doesn't feel authentic to me. It has to be, which doesn't mean they have to live on poverty. That has nothing to do with it, but it has to feel with...
It has to feel right.
It has to feel right, and it has to feel authentic. Ultimately, everybody will attract the person that they need in that in that moment. It's like finding a plumber or a babysitter. There are good ones out there, and then there are not so good ones out there. Actually, and this is coming from them now, they're reminding me of something. Go with the person that wants to have you be independent. Do not go with someone who wants to create a dependency. We
need 5 sessions to get there, for example.
Absolutely not. No package deals. No, because nobody can determine how much you need for that. No, absolutely not. And that's mainly why I wrote this book, so people can be more independent in that journey.
And the good news is that we can do that ourselves, really. That's what you teach.
Correct. That's my passion, to teach people how to access the Akashic Records and how to live their life aligned with purpose, with their being, move into thriving, away from the survival. I mean, think about it. We cannot have come through all of this trouble here to worry about if we can pay the rent or the mortgage. There has to be something bigger to this picture. Yeah. Right? Or to worry if this guy is going to call you back or this woman really loves you. Make your connections true and from the heart, whether it's with a person or with the work you do. Find something in there that makes you want to get up in the morning and do this. Yeah.
So if we feel those doubts and those fears...
Money, which would be for survival, sorry.
Yeah. So if we feel those fears and those doubts... that means that there might be something in another life that needs to be resolved so that we can live from love.
It doesn't have to be just from another life. It can be from this life too. It could be energetic cords. I mean, we create cords with relationships, and then even so the person is not in your life anymore, you feed each other off. So that could be disconnected. My focus is not on past lives. It's on the here and the now. But yes, there are things where people usually ask the wrong question in their life. They are asking, why do I have this? Why is that? And they have to start to ask the right questions in the matter of, what is it that I need to know today so I can go beyond this level? So I can have an even more balanced life, an even healthier lifestyle, an even more successful career. What is it in my life today that will make me even happier?
That's a question we can ask ourselves in the morning waking up.
Correct. And throughout the day, because the answers do come.
And that's part of those Akashic Record connections.
That is...
We receive information like that. To you, it's directly linked?
That is part of how I want to work with this energy. So people come and they ask questions. Usually people come and they talk about they are on the level of their problem. Okay? So they have a problem and they talk about it. Now, as a consultant or teacher, I cannot be on that level. I can sympathize with them, but not even really, because I see where they want to be and where they can go, and I see that potential, and I want to find whatever keeps them on that level so they can be who they want to be and supposed to be and go to this other level. So whatever questions they ask, if it's not a beneficial question for them, I will rephrase it for them. I will teach them to use their energy in a way so it will benefit them. And that information comes through to the Akashic Records to me, but not only in readings, also when I work on myself, on how can I be better? How can I even understand you more? What is my purpose in making this connection with you, and what would you like me to pass on? It's not everybody's purpose to be an Akashic record consultant, but it's everybody's purpose to be happy and, live in joy.
That's probably going to hit just maybe a little, it's our purpose to be in joy. That's a big statement, It's probably going to hit a little tiny point in some people, because some people might be offended by that. Like, I feel like it could be, it's a bold statement. It is true, but it's a bold statement.
Well, then it depends on how you define joy. Yeah. What do you need to be in joy? We live in a society where you sometimes need a lot to feel joy, but you really don't. And as much as I said, can't be our purpose to be wondering on how much money we make. It can also not be our purpose to just sit there and create the next $1 million. Create what serves you, what makes you happy, what you need to do the things you want to do. And trust that it will always keep on going like that. We know that, and we experience it, most of us experience it in the negative part. Whatever you experience, you are creating. If you create things you don't like, then it's because that's what's going on in your energy field. So you already have proof that you're a master creator. You just have to change that perspective. Yeah.
There's on the subtitle or underneath it says one true love. Why those 3 words?
Well, my original version was my true love, because when I learned how to access the Akashic Records, I felt it. It wasn't something I intellectually understood. I'll tell you a little bit of a story. I was born with unaligned hips. Okay, so I had 5 hip surgeries until the age of 18, and there were major ones. Not that one surgery would be less than the other, but I had experiences as a child I didn't talk about, I didn't know, but whenever I would go under anesthesia, I remember I saw these beings dressed in white, and they would always send me love and tell me that I was okay. I would see them behind the surgeons everywhere in the room. And I never thought about it until I accessed the Akashic Records, because when I said the prayer the first time, they were all there and they looked exactly like that, and they said, "Welcome home." And I just started to cry. I felt it. I knew that was really something I needed to connect with. I forgot your question, sorry. What was your question?
It was about the true love.
So I called it my true love. And they said, it's one true love. It's not just your true love. Yeah.
We're all connected to that.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Is there something else as part of this conversation that you feel is important to say, that you would like to share, that is kind of like a distinction of your work, or maybe you've heard some things on Akashic Records and you don't agree, or what's coming up for you right now, just popping up, and that you think is important to mention here?
Well, important to mention here, I would say it's not just spirituality, it's also science. Science can prove today that this field of the Akashic Record exists. There is this wonderful scientist, Erwin Laszlo, who wrote several books on the Akashic Records.
Which is more of a philosopher than a scientist. But he worked out some science, but he's originally a planist. Did you know that? I've re-interviewed him for the second time in Biarritz very recently. So I love this man. I love interviewing him. Well,
okay.
And if you haven't seen, by the way, that interview, you can check it out and just type Professor Laszlo, L-A-S-Z-L-O, Erwin. Yeah.
Well, but also Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, all of these modern scientists really show that this field of the Akashic Records exists. Like Erwin Laszlo, for example, calls it the A field. Greg Braden says this field has been there before the Big Bang happened. It is everywhere all of the time, and it's interactive. It communicates with us. So I always love listening to scientists and hear explanations of what they find now with the string theory. And then one day I thought, as much as I love what they are doing, I'm doing it. You know, when this is what we are doing when we are accessing the Akashic Records. We create a connection from our dimensional field of our soul, which has created this human body as manifestation. But this is just our temple, you know, there is so much more going on beyond that. And we are making a connection to home, where we can get the information we need so we can move on with our manifestation, our physical manifestation.
Have a great time.
Yes, hopefully.
And help others in the process and just be all there together.
Yes.
And live this unity. Do they speak about that up there? Or out there? Or there?
Well,
oneness.
Actually, they're speaking about it all the time. I think I'm starting to understand more and more about it, because it's not just like you ask a question and right away you have 100% of the information. You have to grow personally to really grasp what they are talking about. So the questions I used to ask 10 years ago, if I compare the answers to what I would get to that question today, my understanding of it is totally different than what I experience. It's a little bit like when you are 15 and 16, you think you know it all. Okay? At least I did. And then you grow older and you learn more. And then once you hit 40 and you get even older, you think, I know a lot, but really I know nothing. And that's a little bit how I sometimes look at the world. We feel like we know everything. We create all of these rules we have to live by. And the main message I'm getting from them is let go of all of these rules. Look at life from a more spiritual perspective and don't live by so many rules.
Not so many rules, my beautiful co-creators. Let's free ourselves up.
Well, rules is about you have to get married, you have to get that job, you have to worry about your future. It's not about ethical rules.
Or it has to be done like that.
Yes. No. It's really about basically what you do. You know, you found that spark inside of you that thrives you, and you don't live that life by the common rules. You travel a lot, you meet a lot of people, you open yourself up to that energy. Most people live in fear and they don't open themselves up to something new. And that are rules. These are things that they have learned somewhere down their life and implement as true, and it's not serving them. So that's what they mean by let go of all these rules and regulations and really live your life. There is so much out there we don't really know about, you know. Is there life on other planets? I think there is. Why shouldn't it be? So we have to think of of a broader perspective, and this is the information I'm getting from them. I don't get from them so much the topic of we are all one. Not that we are not all one, but I think that's right now a new development in maybe New Age or spirituality, the next step of the majority of the people to move to the understanding of that we are all one. And if I ask them about it, yes, we are all connected, like leaves on a tree, you know, or pedal trips in the water. But their focus is already on you are all one on a much broader perspective.
Beautiful. I just want to put my head on the pillow and sleep with that for a while. Thank you so much, Gabrielle. This was delicious.
Thank you, Lilou. It was wonderful to meet you. Pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you to all delicious co-creators watching this video. We send you so much love. I mean, from this beautiful Miami. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching and sharing this video. Big kiss. Much love.